What do you mean they stole the fire ladder? Melody Doyle asked her father over breakfast. Well, just what I be saying, her father replied. Judge Kuykendall has run an ad in the paper saying somebody stole it, and he wants it back immediately. Seems like sneaking off with a large ladder would be difficult, and even harder to hide. She poured hot coffee in her father's cup. For sure it would be now. He downed half the cup in one gulp, then folded the paper. No doubt someone will be finding it. Hopefully before the next fire. Oh, I forgot to be telling you. I'm going to go to the prize fight tonight. Are you sure you're feeling up to it, Dad? Ever since late January, when her father fell at work, his back had been giving him nothing but trouble. He couldn't even get clearance from the railroad to return to work because of the problems it was causing him. I'm sure to be just fine, daughter. Don't you be worrying none. But Melody did worry. Dad wasn't his usual self. All her life, he had been the very image of strength and resilience. These last few weeks, however, he'd seemed so weary, and Melody was certain he was in pain. She knew her father was frustrated after taking that fall. He'd been quite high on the ladder when he'd lost his balance and hit the ground on his back. The doctor said it was a wonder he hadn't hit his head. But Da had only laughed and said if he had, then there wouldn't have been any injury at all. He was a hard-headed Irishman who'd definitely gone through worse, but for some reason, this fall had taken its toll. There is something I was hoping we could discuss. Melody pushed back her empty plate. Do you feel up to it? For sure I do. Don't be worrying about me. I won't be coddled. She smiled and reached out to place her hand over his. You've never allowed anyone to coddle you, and I won't insult you by trying to start now. In fact, what I want to say is about as far from coddling as I can get. Then speak. What would be on your mind? For as long as Melody and her father had lived in Cheyenne, they'd called a tent home. It was the way of most section hands and their supervisors, since the railroad kept them moving along the line. Melody hadn't minded in the beginning. It was fairly comfortable, at least as much as they could make it. The entire tent wasn't much bigger than 10 by 10, but it was all Melody had known for some time. Now, however, she was more than ready to enjoy the comforts of a real house, with windows she could look out of and a nice large fireplace. Da seemed most content when he was living like a nomad, but not Melody.